Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I am going to be talking about how to go on a family trip without killing each other, which was by request from somebody in my Facebook group, which you should join. And while you're joining that, you should also subscribe to this podcast. The next one is going to be why your wife's personality changes so much after children. And every man wants to know the answer to that burning question. And whether it will ever change back. Haha, it obviously doesn't change back. But I mean, it does. It doesn't stay the same. It doesn't stay the same in the baby stage, the toddler stage, the older kid stage. Like, it changes. It changes a lot. I mean, this may be news to you, but your wife's personality is not the same day to day. Anyway, we want to subscribe because 25% of my episodes are subscriber only, so you are going to be missing out on, lots of good shit if you don't subscribe. So do that. And now we're going to be talking about family trips. So obviously, a vacation without kids is totally different from a family trip in that a vacation without kids is enjoyable. But really, people make very, very big cognitive errors and practical errors when planning family trips, which results in a lot of resentment, hostility at times, fatigue, possibly even exhaustion, and just general bad feelings, and this is often much worse the younger your kids are. So let's just go through some of the common mistakes that people make. So the first one is getting too small of a room / saving, quote unquote, money by doing this when you would be spending a lot of money on other things to compensate, such as a therapy bill or drugs. But really, here's the thing. So if you get like one hotel room and it's you and your husband and your 3 kids, you're gonna want to die. You know it. It's gonna go terrible. You can't be intimate. You can't even get a moment to yourself. Everybody's sharing the bathroom. It's a garbage fire. Personally, I would rather not even go on a vacation than do that. And a lot of my fellow highly sensitive women agree with that. But people also want to go on vacation. So what might you do? Well, I mean, I am a therapist. I'm always thinking about like the kind of deeper reasons that people do things. So for me, it would be a no-brainer to go somewhere cheaper where you could have like an Airbnb with multiple rooms and some privacy versus somewhere more expensive where you have to stay in one room, and certainly not staying anywhere where you all have to sleep on the floor. But that's me. I'm a therapist. I'm a highly sensitive person. Sometimes people may have like some wonderful opportunity to like, let's say, go to Costa Rica with your 3 kids when you have to stay on the floor of your cousin who lives in Costa Rica, and they may want to take that opportunity, and that could be great. But you really have to know yourself. If you are somebody who doesn't do well with getting no sleep, if you are somebody who's going to feel very upset when you have no privacy, if you don't want to be rushed out of your shower in the morning, then try when the children are very young especially to really just know yourself. And that's a lot of the theme of therapy and of this podcast. If you can understand yourself and your limitations, it doesn't mean that you can't be flexible, but at least you could be somebody who says, wow, if I make this sacrifice to go to Costa Rica and all stay in one room with like one toilet and whatever, then I am not really going to enjoy myself that much probably. And this is a trip for the children to meet their hypothetical cousin that I said has the place or whatever. So your expectations need to interact with the actual person that you are versus the person that you wish that you were. Frequently, people wish that they were laid back, flexible, and chillaxed. There's an entire movie about trying to be more cool and chillaxed called Gone Girl, and the book is better than the movie, and you should read it. And the point, though, is that people cannot just change their personalities for every vacation. So I work with a lot of people that go on family vacations, and it doesn't make them feel closer. It makes them feel further apart. Another big mistake that people make is related to that. They don't have sex on their vacation because they have kids. And it's really interesting because a lot of places, they have some childcare, they have a kids club, and more people than I ever guessed, because I work with so many people now that, have kids and are traveling again after COVID. People travel with grandparents, they travel with nannies, they travel with a sister, they travel with somebody who can watch the kids for a second, and or they can get another room. This goes back to my other room idea of not just all staying in one room, because then the parents can have a room and the kids can have a room. And that is going to allow you to have privacy for intimacy. Remember that a vacation used to be a time that you had lots of sex. And now if a family trip is an entire week where you have zero sex, nobody is going to feel more connected and closer after that. And nobody's going to feel more relaxed after that. So two common errors, and these are related, as I just said, are not getting enough space, not having space for privacy, and then the global macro issue is not understanding yourself and your limitations, particularly if you're a highly sensitive person. You could also be a highly sensitive person that is premenstrual, that is also exhausted, that is gets sick, on the vacation. There could be a lot of reasons that you are going to really, really want your privacy. So one thing to talk about with a partner before even going on a family trip is, are we setting ourselves up to fail by assuming that we're a lot more flexible than we are? Like, do we think that we're the kind of people who are going to roll with just us and 3 kids at Disney in the middle of August for 5 days straight? And in reality, if we think about it, we're the kind of people who are going to get annoyed after 2 days of Disney. So maybe we're going to do 2 days of Disney, and then we're going to go to an Airbnb with a pool somewhere else in Florida that is less expensive, or whatever. So a lot of times people go into this crazy mode when they're planning vacation where they think that they are a different person, and they're not a different person. They're the same person. So more along these lines, try to get alone time for each parent during the vacation. So this could mean that each parent gets to exercise at the gym. They get to go for a run. They get to go get a cup of coffee. They get to go back to the room and take a shower. Whatever the case may be, especially the highly sensitive partner probably needs time to decompress in the middle of the vacation. And this should not be shamed. And this is not a failure. And this doesn't mean that the couple is not in love or that the family isn't happy. This means that a highly sensitive person usually needs time to decompress. And if they have the extra stress of a vacation, then this is going to be extra stressful. So they're going to need extra time to decompress. Of course, this doesn't mean that one parent should be with the kids all day at the beach and the other parent should be in the air conditioning watching TV. Obviously not. But what it does mean is that if you're at the beach with your wife and she says, can I just go in for like an hour because I feel like really hot out here and I just want to lay down, your answer should be yes. And if you say, can I go to the fitness room for an hour, then her answer should be yes, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so what are some other issues? People do not talk enough about expectations around vacations. These are even around couples vacations, but certainly around vacations with the kids. So one person may think that the kids are going to be on no schedule because it's vacation. And the other person thinks, of course, the kids are going to be on a schedule because ever since it turns like 2 p.m., I'm waiting for the 8 p.m. bedtime and only then can I relax. So it's really important to, in advance, talk about expectations on a family trip. Also, if it's a family trip where you're going to interact with other extended family members, what are you going to do vis-a-vis these family members? Are we going to see them every day? Are we going to see them every other day? Are we going to see them, and ask them to babysit the kids? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? So many people feel that this would be like this scheduling sex conversation. I'm firmly on the path of scheduling sex, like when I advise people. Scheduling sex is never bad. Like, it's only bad if you think of it as bad. Do you know what scheduled sex used to be called? It used to be called planning a date, because you knew if you were going out with your partner Friday, you were going to have sex. That was scheduling sex, for Christ's sake. So why does it get a bad rap within monogamy? It didn't, like, you always used to know in advance when you were going to have sex, pretty much. So it's the same sort of thing. When people get wrapped around the axle about how everything has to be spontaneous, they're really doing themselves a disservice. And if they happen to be this super spontaneous person who's so flexible, and then, you know, they're like Gumby, they're so flexible, and they're married to another Gumby, these people don't really exist. Like, you know, people, especially in their first marriages, it's yin and yang. I've talked about this before, and there's always going to be one that's less flexible from what I see. So this person that's less flexible is going to surprise you in a bad way, if you're the more flexible partner, with the fact that they have various expectations for how certain things are going to go, and they don't want to just fly by the seat of their pants. And the more that we talk about this in advance, that doesn't ruin the vacation. That protects the vacation. Talking about expectations is never bad. Talking about expectations is something that we do in couples counseling all the time. So how are we going to treat XYZ situation? There was a history of infidelity. How are we going to, how are you and I going to deal with it if somebody mentions infidelity? Because I know that we're seeing our friends who also just experienced infidelity. So what's that going to feel like to us? Like, in couples counseling, we try to get out ahead of problems. So the way to think about discussions about potential problems isn't that you are focusing on the bad, which is how some people think about it, but instead that you are trying to protect the couple, and you're trying to ensure that as many good things happen as possible by laying out kind of what each person really wants to happen and the things that they won't want to happen. So let's say that y'all decide to, and I've seen this before, so don't think I'm just making up crazy shit, but like, and if you're a man, you'll be like, why is this crazy? But there are people who go and they sleep 5 people in one hotel room, and the guy expects to have sex on that vacation. How? There's 3 children in the room. What are you talking about? Wait, the kids are going to be divided, 2 of them with you, 2 of them with your wife. How are you going to do it? And then, like, if you press them on it, they'll like say something like, I don't know, like the shower. Yeah, okay. Like, that's really going to happen. With your 3 children watching TV, like a yard from the bathroom door. Like, give me a break. So if that couple were just, if that woman were to say, let's say, okay, like, you really want us to all go in one room, I would rather us go stay in an Airbnb. You know we're not going to have sex, right? We're not, 100% not in that one room. For sure not. A lot of guys would change their tune about the money and say, okay, well then let's get 2 rooms, because they would have talked about expectations. Or it's possible, honestly, that the woman might say, we are going to visit your family. I am really stressed out. It's going to be 5 days. I really don't see us having sex during that time. I don't want that to come as a major shock. We'll do it when we get back, and we'll do it before we go. That would be 1,000 times better than the usual situation in which then this happens, and this happens if you're listening to this and you're interested in all the sex stuff and couple stuff, where the guy doesn't even initiate in the few days leading up to the vacation because they think somehow they're going to get, quote, vacation sex, forgetting that a family trip is not really a vacation. So then by the time they have the 5 days of the trip, and then they had the 5 days before that where they didn't initiate, by the time they're done with the trip, they haven't had sex in 10 days. They haven't even masturbated because they've been with the damn children in the room. And boy, you would imagine how their mood is. It's a shining garbage fire. That's how their mood is. So again, discussing expectations would prevent this outcome and allow the couple to be their best selves if they even just discussed things. And if you're like, oh, my husband would be in such a bad mood if I said to him, we're definitely not having sex for 5 days. No, your husband, yeah, maybe he'll be in somewhat of a bad mood. Guess what a worse mood is going to be? When he thinks he's going to be having sex and then he doesn't have sex. And then when he brings it up, you say very sensitively, how How'd you think we were going to have sex? What's wrong with you? Like, you knew we weren't. Then he's like, no, I didn't. And then, people end up calling people like me couples counselors. So sex, how much we're going to interact with family, when bedtime is going to be. Another big one is drinking and eating. So a lot of women still want to stick to some sort of, healthy eating. They don't want to, drink and eat constantly during the trip. And if they feel forced to, then they start to feel like they're fat and they don't fit into their clothes and what have you. All of these sorts of things, like we don't always have to go to the, buffet every single night. Like maybe one of the nights we could get sandwiches and sit by the pool. Anything that you can discuss and anything that could be outside the box thinking to make both people have a better time, both adults, because you're already thinking about the kids having a good time, so I don't need to get into that, because most people, when they take a family trip, it's all about doing shit for the kids anyway. You go from the go-karts to the amusement park to the cotton candy to the rides to the pool. Everything's about the kids anyhow, so we don't need to focus on that. You got that covered. We need to focus on the adults, at least not hating most of the trip and each other by the time they get home. So vacations can be a lot of pressure because there's this idea that they're supposed to be fun. When they're with kids, they're supposed to be fun for the kids. You're making memories for the kids. The best it's going to do for you is pleasant. Try for it to be pleasant for you and fun for the kids. If you really want something fun for you, either wait till the kids get a little older and they don't have to, let's say, have, breaks to go to the bathroom every 15 seconds or to have a diaper change or whatever, or go on a couples vacation, which is a hell of a lot better. And if there's any way to wrangle anybody into watching your children overnight, then a couples vacation is certainly a hell of a lot easier. And it's like really, really good for connection. So it's like every time I have a couple that goes on a couples vacation, it's like they come in the next week and they're fine. They're like fine. They have no problems. It's like crazy. But then like the next week, like the problems come back and what have you. But like there's like a little temporary effect of going on a couples vacation. It doesn't transform anything. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass like that. Otherwise, there would be no point. People would just move to Maui and then never have a problem again. But the point of a vacation is you're in pretty dire straits if you go on a couples vacation and you don't feel closer afterwards because you don't have the kids. You don't have anything to worry about. You can both do your own thing. You can get a couples massage or you can sit in the room and read or whatever. And most people, mostly everybody knows we're going to have sex because we're on a couples vacation. So that's one. If you want to get like a little 2-week boost in the mood of your relationship, then you could schedule a couples vacation. And if you have enough couples vacations a year and you're a mathematically oriented sort of person, you can really kind of coast and jump from vacation to vacation. But most of us don't have that much time or money to do, which is why couples counselors are still in business, to actually deal with the more deep issues of your marriage. But, by the way, having periodic fun and an after effect of that for 2 weeks is great. So do that because those can be moments of bonding and connection. And also they can make you feel like back to your old self in a sense and remember the person that you were before. Before the kids, and it can make you remember the couple that you were before the kids. I have a podcast on what is your couple identity. Some people completely forget because it's been completely snowed under by the appearance of your children who you love, but who transform you from a couple to a family. So hopefully this gave you something to think about. This one is really not very attacking to anybody. It would be very hard for anybody to take it as a personal attack, unlike some of the other more sensitive topics. So if there was one to share with a partner, if they're receptive to the idea of sharing, this would be a good one to listen to and to think about what have we made mistakes at in previous family vacations and how could we rectify that in ones coming up, and can we even get a couple's vacation on the calendar, etc., etc. A real good jumping off point. And again, if your partner can't stand me or my podcast, then just bring these topics up on your own because you can do it. You've been listening to me for over 200 episodes, 2 seasons. So you can do it. You could say, hey, I was thinking about our upcoming vacation. What can we prepare so that things go better? Because I remember last time we were both frustrated with different aspects of it. And if you're somebody who usually sticks your head in the sand and is difficult about open discussion and is scared to bring up sensitive topics. Your partner may be shocked but very pleased on some level that you are finally head-on deciding to talk about something and to even prevent a bad outcome in a very proactive, admirable kind of way. So this is not a conversation that can go wrong. And if it goes horribly wrong, guess what? Your vacation would have been even worse had you not had the conversation. So that's a good way to think about it. Glass, a quarter empty, somewhere in between, half empty and half full. Anyway, hope you got something out of this. Please do subscribe. Please do join my Facebook group. Please do keep listening. Thanks so much. Have a great day.